Welcome into this week's edition of Maverick Insider. I'm Rob Clark, joined alongside Myzel Williams, linebacker for the Minnesota State football team. Myzel, a pretty special week coming up for you. You're the transfer from Minot State, and coming up, Mavericks will be taking on those Beavers.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. People have been telling me all the time, like, "Oh, are you hyped for this week?" I think it's just wanting to see my friends again. You know what I'm saying? But I made some good relationships at mine, so being able to see those boys again, I think is the biggest thing for this week. But I'm super excited to be able to play against them.
And I know last week we had heard that you knew after week 4 that you would be a Maverick. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So if you don't know, last year when I was at Minot, we played Minnesota State week 4 here, and it was the most old-fashioned butt whipping I think I've ever received. That, like, we were 3-0 at the time. We were feeling pretty good about ourselves, and then Mankato went on to beat us 40-6. And then I told my friend Roman Pickens after the game, walking off the field, I said, I'm going to play there next year. And then after the season, I entered the portal, and then next thing you know, I was a Maverick.
How has the transition really been from going from Minot State to MSU, and how smooth was that transition, especially in the offseason?
Yeah, I think the transition was amazing. I think being able to come in the spring really helped in terms of learning defense and learning the guys and things like that. The guys were super welcoming and things like that. So I've developed great relationships. We were fortunate to have a good amount of transfers come in at the same time I did. So we were able to really mesh together when we were able to come here. Amon, Rashad, JJ, guys like that. So it's been awesome. It's been awesome. I feel like I've been here for years, even though I've only been here since January. So like I said, I feel like I made the right choice. I have a really good team, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do.
Mavericks defense comes out. Everybody was flying around week 1 against Northwest Missouri State. What was your first impression of how good this unit can be in 2025?
You know what? The crazy thing is I thought that we played a really sloppy against Northwest. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that we didn't play our best ball, we were still able to dominate the game in a way, I feel like it's super impressive and it's really promising. I feel like if we can really hone in on the mistakes that we made and really come together and trust each other as a defense, we can be really, really good. So I think the Northwest game was a glimpse of the potential that we could have if we could really, if we can play it not our best game and still be able to put on a performance like that is really promising. So, it leaves a lot to be desired, but we know that, there's still a lot on the plate that we can still, be able to accomplish. So I think, going forward, the preparation aspect, we have to be, a little bit more intensive in that. And we can be a really good defense if we do that. So, I'm glad. I think we can make a big step forward from week 1 to week 2 against Minot and then move on from there.
How key is it to be able to start the season 1-0, and how does that set the table really for the entire season?
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good for momentum, but we've kind of forgotten about it. We try to go 1-0 every week. So, we went 1-0 last week, and now we're 0-0 again. And now we got to try to go 1-0 again this week. So, we celebrated it for the 2 days that we had off, but now it's in the back of our mind, and now we're moving on. You can't win this week off of last week's juice. Last week is gone. We have to have a whole new juice, a whole new energy to attack this week. And then, we're attempting to go 1-0 this week. But it's good, to start the season off fast like that. But it's already in the back of our mind. We're trying to go 1-0 again this week.
And what was really the key for this group, maybe in the offseason, to be able to, have these transfers come in and play? I know you mentioned a little bit sloppy, in week 1, but to be able to have that chemistry that you guys really did, even though, this is the first time you guys are really playing with each other against an opponent.
I think we're all on one accord. I think when we were all getting recruited, we all knew the same thing. Listen, we're trying to win a championship. Me and Amon Williams were texting each other back and forth, about winning the championship before we even got into school here and we met each other. I think all the transfers understand that when you come here, it's championship or bust. It's a championship mentality when you come here. So I think all of the transfers coming in knew that that's the approach that we were going to take to the season. And I think once they got here, that was their mindset. And so we didn't skip a beat when we came here. When the transfers came here, we had the same mindset as the returners. That, hey, man, we're going to try to win a championship. We're going to do everything we can in the offseason to make sure that they put us in the best position to win a championship. And I think having, the transfers having that mindset has been why we've been able to, be able to come in and contribute so well, so early.
Last question for you, Myzel. To be standing on the opposite sideline and seeing so many of your former teammates, have you thought about what that moment is going to be like on Saturday?
I think it'll be fun, to see. I might crack a smile to them over on the sideline over there. But at the end of the day, it's still business. They're not my friends until after the game. They're my friends right now, but as soon as it's told meets leather, they're enemies. and I'm gonna have that. And they know that I'm gonna have that approach towards them. But I'm looking forward to competing against them. Crispin's a really good quarterback. Evans a really good running back. They have a really complicated offense that we're really trying hard to try to get down. And so it's gonna be a good battle. It's gonna be a good match. I'm excited to play against them. Live this time, being there, all you got is Skelly Temple and Third Temple. We're going against them, but now I get to finally go against them live. So I think it'll be really, really fun. It'll be a really good challenge for our defense, and I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Best of
Absolutely.
luck this weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Maverick Insider after the break. Stay with us.